Cutco? They are 100%. Think about the big family occasions, right? Big family birthday parties. Think about your graduation party. Who in the family showed up? Think about big family reunions, whether it be a wedding, funeral, whatever it is, who showed up? Does anybody have a family member that you feel like wears way too much perfume or cologne every single time you see them? Like when they walk into the room, you know who's there. Write them down, right? Anybody have a family member that overdresses for every occasion? Like you show up and they're like suit and tie and it's a pool party and you're like, what are you doing? Write them down, right? Who here has that family member or family friend? Like when you see them, they're like, I've known you since you were this big, and you have no idea who they are. Who has that? Write them down. And write them down what you know them by. You're like, lady with the big hat that knows me from when I was 2, apparently. Like, write them down. I kid you not, like I had an uncle that, well, he divorced my aunt, but I couldn't remember his name. So I literally wrote down uncle with the hairy toes because all I remembered about him was that he had hairy toes, which is super gross. Because we went to the beach and I was like, I was 4, so low vantage point. And then I find out it was Uncle Mike. So I have Uncle Mike and his family on my list. There's been divorces in the family, write down divorcees and their family members. So on and so forth. If you're still working, keep working. I am going to move on to the next section for time's sake because this is going to be one of the larger sections. And this next section is your friends. Now, looking around the Zoom call, I'm assuming most of you probably won't be able to show your direct friends Cutco, right? Like Jasmine, you might be able to, and that's awesome. Like you're in a great position where you're going to crush everybody because of it, all right? But looking around the Zoom call, I'm like, a lot of you might not be able to show Cutco to your direct friends. So they wouldn't be good prospects, but who would be? Their parents, the people they live with. So I give you permission to open up your cell phone. Start at literally you can just start at the letter A in your contacts. Or if you primarily do Snapchat or WhatsApp or Kik or Instagram, whatever you use to message people, start at the letter A and just write down everyone that you can reach out to for an appointment. Whether you know them really well, you haven't talked to them in a while, or maybe you just went to the same school and that's really it. Write them all down. Maybe you just know them from a party or a football game, whatever it is, write them down. Great way to start is who here has a best friend? Great. You probably met their whole family. That's somebody you could show Cutco to. Who here has a current significant other or an ex-significant other, right? You could show the current and the ex's parents Cutco, as well as the rest of their family. If you haven't met them yet, it's a great opportunity to do so. It's the most professional version of yourself. If they buy, cool, but we're going to pay you to show it to these people. Like Damien, I'm going to pay you to show your girlfriend's parents, like to meet them. Isn't that cool? There you go. I covered dinner for you. I got you. Think about who here went to school. Think about everybody you graduated with. Those are all people you can show Cutco to. Whether you knew them really well or you didn't really talk to them, those are all people you could show Cutco to. Because the way it works is like, hey, I'm not sure if you remember me, but we both went to Legacy High School. I have a quick question for you. Not sure if you remember me, but we're in the same classes at UNLV. I just have a quick question for you. They say yes, cool, book an appointment. If they say no, no worries, on to the next call. But I had a classmate of mine named Kyle McKinley. Now, Kyle was kind of one of those people that, does anybody have like a wave or a head nod only relationship with people at school? You know what I'm talking about? Like where you pass by them and you know who they are, but you don't talk to them. So you kind of just do one of these. Great. So that was Kyle and me, right? I never talked to him directly. He was a friend of a friend. We didn't have any classes together, but he and I knew who each other were. So I found him on Facebook. And so, by the way, I know I'm dating myself here, but like we messaged on Facebook, right? And I found him on Facebook. I messaged him for the appointment. We have a script for this because it'd be really weird if Jordan was just like, hey, can I get your mom's number? Your friend's like, why? Like, because I want to see her tomorrow night. Like, it just doesn't work out. So we have a script and approach for this that basically is super low key. But I asked him if he'd help me out with, with an appointment and talking to his mom. And he's like, for sure. So he gave me his mom's info. I called her, booked the appointment. She was the nicest lady in the world. She was super behind me and my goals and what I was working towards. She even said like, hey, I wish my kid was more like you with his goals and his ambitions. I want him to do more for himself. She ended up buying a Homemaker +8 and gave me 10 introductions to new prospects. But again, it was somebody that I never talked to in high school. I just had a head nod only relationship with him. So do you think it's worth it to write them all down? Heck yeah, right? Who here was part of clubs at school? Write everybody that you were in the club with, right? Think about if you're an orchestra, band, choir, you can write all those people down. If you're part of a football team, soccer team, basketball team, volleyball team, whatever it is, you can write all those people down. Is anybody part of the school theater, drama club? Write all those people down. Drama parents are great to show Cutco do. They're so nice. Is anybody part of youth groups? Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, church groups, write them down. If you're continuing to keep going, I'm going to cut you short because I want to move on to the next section, which is family friends. So think about everybody, like anytime your families are talking about stories or who they hang out with, who do they talk about? So these are people that you know of, right? Or they know of you. Maybe you just haven't talked in a while. Think about who's shown up at the family barbecues. Does anybody have a wave-only relationship with their neighbors? Like you go to check the mail and they're outside and you just go, good morning, and you go back inside. Those are my favorite interactions, by the way. I love those, especially living in my own house. I'm like, dude, it's awesome. So write down your neighbors, right? If you don't know their name exactly, write down lady that lives across the street, the guy with the basketball hoop on the corner. Does anybody have a neighbor that has a boat? Those are great people to show Cutco to. Write them down. Anybody have a neighbor with more than one car? Also great to show Cutco to. Anybody know family that lives in a 2-story house? Those are expensive nowadays. Write them down. Right. And by the way, you're not just going to go like knock on doors like, do you want knives? Hey, do you want knives? Hey, do you want to buy some knives? Do you guys think that works out very well? No. So like, I wouldn't reach out to neighbors until you talk to Christine and I first. We have an approach for it that makes it really easy. Okay. And also you're not going door to door. All right. You're just talking to people that you're aware of in your neighborhood. You can think about like parents' coworkers. Who do they talk about when they come home from work? Who are they complaining about? Their bosses, the people that they see on a day-to-day basis, the people they share their office with. Who's their least favorite coworker? Who's their most favorite coworker? My dad was in the hotel industry for 30 years, so I wrote down dad's hotel coworkers. Now my dad works in bail bonds, so I wrote down dad's bail bonds coworkers. And I had my dad's boss from his bail bonds on my list, and I called him for a while, but we just kept missing each other. And I eventually gave up after about 2 or 3 weeks of trying to book this appointment with his boss. And I regret it to this day because 3 years later, we hired a rep in our organization and she was best friends with the boss's daughter from my dad's work, right? It was crazy small world kind of thing, right? But you know what's crazy is that she did an appointment with him and his wife. And they ended up buying the biggest set that we have. She literally made like $1,000 on the appointment in income. And I was kicking myself in the butt. I was like, that could have been what? That could have been mine. So like guys, they're going to hear about Cutco anyways. We've been around for 70 plus years. We have 19 million plus customers. We sell over 300 million annually. So they're going to hear about Cutco. They might as well hear about it from who? Might as well hear about it from you, right? So write them all down. Think about your family's old friends, right? Stories that they had from growing up. Who do they talk about? Does anybody's family go to church, synagogue, whatever it is? Great. Write down family's top 5 church friends or your top 5 church friends. Write down the whole congregation if you wanted to. Does anybody's family send out holiday cards or have like a big holiday party? Write down everyone that comes over for those. Well, Nana's getting like a brainstorm, I see a light bulb go off every time I say something. It's awesome. Appreciate your engagement. All right. Is anybody's family part of like a club or organization? Like my dad's part of a pool club where he competes competitively in pool at the bar. Anybody have family member like that? Write down the people they hang out with at that. My mom's a part of a book club. Anybody's family part of a book club? Write down anybody from the book club. I wrote down everybody that my dad plays pool with. And literally, I didn't know any of their names. So I just wrote down a placeholder. People that my dad plays pool with. 2 of them own businesses. One of them buys from me every single Christmas, a knife or 2 for his son. And the other one bought our second biggest set. He lived in like $1 million home. It was a really cool appointment. So write them all down. The last one I'm going to talk about is teachers, coaches, and mentors, the next section. Who had a favorite teacher in high school, middle school, and elementary school? Great, write them down, of course. Who had a least favorite teacher? Great, write them down too. In fact, I found that I did better appointments with my least favorite teachers because they just wanted to see that I was doing better than I was. Because obviously I wasn't a great student in their class. Think about your old principals, your old coaches from sports. I'd love that. You're like, oh, shoot, that's like 5 people right there, right? Think about your old counselor. Think back to elementary school, middle school. Those are people you can reach out to. I know it seems crazy, but guess what? I found my 4th grade teacher on Facebook. Booked an appointment with her. She actually didn't end up buying anything, but that's okay. I got to catch up with my old teacher. I got paid just to show it to her. She gave me 5 introductions for people I could show the product to. And I built a great relationship with her. We still have each other on Facebook. I'm friends with her daughter because I went to school with her daughter. Super cool. I love keeping up with them on their day-to-day. And it was just cool to have that relationship with them. Think about your band directors, your middle school teachers. Think about old bosses they may have had from previous positions. Write them down. No, you can't do an appointment with Christina or myself or any of the staff. But great try. I know nobody asked, but I want to handle it before I came up. I'm also not qualified. In the last section, I'm gonna just go over random thought joggers. All right. Anybody know somebody who's in the military? Write them down. All right, if you haven't already. Anybody know somebody who's in the medical field, nurse, doctor, whatever it is? Write them down. Those people you can show Cutco to. Anybody know somebody, anybody gone to the dentist or an orthodontist, had braces before? Great. I mean, they have a hard job, right? It's super gross. I think they deserve Cutco. Write them down. Anybody have like a consistent mail person that you see all the time? You can write them down if you're familiar with them. Anybody know someone who works for the city or the county? Write them down, right? Anybody know somebody who works for the school district or as a teacher? Write them down, right? Does anybody know someone who owns their own business locally? Like you go and see their house, and not their house, but you go to their business and you like know the owner personally? You can write them down. Anybody who here has a barber or somebody that cuts their hair, does their hair every single time? You can write them down, right? Anybody have a nail tech? Like ladies, you have a nail tech? You can write them down, all right? They listen to all your tea, you hear their tea. Look them up with some Cutco. You can also think about your family lawyer, family doctor. These people you can show Cutco to. If you don't know if you have one, ask your parents. Anybody have a mechanic? Anybody gone to get their car fixed up? Probably overcharged you. Write them down. Who here has insurance? You have an insurance agent. Write them down, right? Who here lives in a house? Somebody sold you that house. Write them down. Real estate agent. Or the landlord that owns it. You could show them Cutco. Who here lives in an apartment? Somebody owns the apartment complex. You can write them down. Or you can also write down the people that work at the front desk that you talk to all the time. Those are people you can show the product to. Who here did their taxes with somebody? Like they paid somebody to help them with their taxes, or like they have an accountant. You can write them down. Those are people you can show Cutco to. So on and so forth, right? Like you guys can see that I could keep going on and on about different professions, different careers, but we are a little bit over, so I appreciate you guys staying on. But everybody, hands up really quick. Show me both of them. Let me see. Except for Nana, she's got the baby in her hands. All right, everybody give yourself a round of applause. I can't clap very loud, so I need all of you to clap extra loud for me. All right. Who here wrote down more people than they were expecting? That's the whole point, right? It's to show you guys you know a heck of a lot more people than you give yourself credit for. Do you guys think this list is complete, by the way? Heck no, right? I probably stopped every single one of you at every single section, right? So the goal for tonight is to what? Add. Keep building on this. And the more effort you put in tonight, the more it's going to pay off tomorrow when we start making our phone calls, right? So the goal, everybody put this in your notes. The goal is to get to mission 100. And what this means is 100 names and phone numbers for those people that you can show Cutco to. That's what our most successful reps shoot for, because like Abby, you sit down and make 10, 20 phone calls every single day for the week. Like you can call different people every single day. That's the whole point. And obviously this weekend and throughout your career, you continue to build more and more on this list, right? And if you feel like you're getting closer, you already get to 100, what can you get to after that? Go after mission 200. Once you get to 200, then go to what? 300, and then go to 500 and just keep building. You guys ever, like, would you guys be mad about too many people to call? I don't think so, right? And that's the whole point of a business, is to build up until you get to a point where you have too many people to call, right? All right. Now, really quick, everybody text your manager one-on-one. Count up your list of how many people you wrote down and text that to your manager one-on-one. So Abby, Jelena, Damian, and Jordan, you guys are going to text me. Sam, Enrique, Nana, and Jasmine, you guys are going to text Christina. So text your manager one-on-one what your count is, where you're at, how many people, total people you wrote down. Even if there's a placeholder, write down the placeholder. Because usually you can get at least one from the placeholder. So again, text your manager one-on-one. Damien got yours, thank you. Abby got yours, thank you. Jordan got yours, thank you. Jelena got yours, thank you. We're all good on my end, Christina.
Okay. And then reminder, as Tommy said, just to text us so that we have it. In case, once again, somebody doesn't have my phone number, I'll post it one more time. Okay. So while you guys are texting that to me, I'm going to go over some last assignments so that we could finish roughly on time there. A little over, apologize, but these are the last things, all right?
Take a screenshot.
Okay, so take a screenshot of this, have it ready, all right? Excuse me. Okay, so review pages 1 through 7 in your manual 2 times. Okay, you want to do this 2 times so you can practice and be ready before tomorrow when we do breakout rooms. Continue to grow your list. As I said, Tommy's going to talk about what a MAC is tomorrow, but just continue to grow your list, all right? Try to get numbers now that you have some names to work off of. Sit down with family, ask your manager if you do need some help in any areas, friends, anything like that. Make a Zoom or Google account, whichever one that you're going to utilize. Like I said, Google account's free, so that's the one I recommend, but whichever you prefer. Download WhatsApp on your computer if you haven't already. Once again, you should have it on your phone and on your computer. Update us with your assignments tonight if you have any final questions, need help with anything at all. And then tomorrow, training is going to be later. It's going to be at 1 o'clock, which means you should be here 15 minutes early, vector time, so that is 12:45. All right, so make sure you have a picture of this. If you have any questions, feel free to hang back. If you don't have any questions, you guys are free to go. It was awesome training in today, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording now.